Hi there and welcome to Penguin Learning. In this National 4 Maths lesson, we are going to continue going over some non-calculator practice questions, so questions that we could expect to see in a National 4 non-calculator exam. Today we have 4 questions this time, and these questions involve a little bit more problem solving compared to part 1, so that means that we have to think a little bit more and analyse the information that was given to us. So what I would recommend you do is that you pause the video before I presented each one of the questions and give it a go first by yourself, and then once you've done so, follow along and check to see if you got the right answer. So, let's get started.
Ooh la la!
Okay, so this first question is divided up into 4 parts, and it basically just consists of 4 different sums, and it tests our knowledge both on times tables and our ability to divide and multiply, and we also have a fraction question here at the end. So let's begin by looking at part A. So we have 14.6 minus 3.21 plus 5.3, and we have to evaluate this answer. So to begin, first of all, I'm going to start off by subtracting the minus 3.21 from the 14.6. It doesn't matter what we do first, but that's just what I'm going to choose to do. So we have 14.6 minus 3.21, and I'm just going to put the extra 0 on the end so we have the same amount of numbers after the decimal place. Now to begin, we have the 0 on top, so we're going to make that the 5 and carry the 1 over. So we have 10 minus 1 is 9, 5 minus 2 is 3, and then we have 14 minus 3, which is 11. So that means that this part of the question is equal to 11.39. And now what we can do is add this on to our 5.3 we have at the end. So there we have our sum, and again I'm just going to put the 0 in at the end so we have the same amount of numbers after the decimal place. So we're adding this time, so we have 9 plus 0 is 9, 3 plus 3 is 6, and then 11 plus 5 after the decimal place is equal to 16. So that means for our final answer, for part A, that's equal to 16.69. So now part B, we're asked to calculate 2.44 times 90. Now there's multiple ways you can go about this, but I'm just going to show you one way that's possible. So first of all, looking at this, just doing this sum from the top of the head, it's a little bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is change 90 to something else. So we know that if we say, for example, 10 multiplied by 9, so 10 times 9, that's the same thing as 90. But if we do this, it makes it a little bit easier to juggle around with our numbers. So what I'm going to do now is do the 2.44 multiplied by the 10. And if we know that we multiply by something by 10, then we can just move the decimal place of that number to the right. So that means that this is going to become 24.4 times 9, because 2.44 times 10 just gives us this 24.4 we have here. And now, since that's a little bit easier to deal with, I'm just going to do a sum. So we have 24.4 multiplied by 9. And then first of all, we have 9 times 4, which is 36. Carry the 3 over, put the decimal point down. Again, we have 9 times 4, which is 36. Carry the 3 is 39. So put down the 9, carry the 3. Then we have 2 times 9 is 18. Add on the 3 is 21. So that means that answer is 219.6 for part B. Moving on to part C, we're asked to calculate 76.8 divided by 6. And if we ever see a sign like this, if we see like a dash like this, or if we see a fraction, both of them just mean the divide sign. So what we can do from here is just simply put this into a little sum. So we have 76.8 divided by 6. Now we can say 6 goes into 7 once with 1 left over, and then 6 goes into 16 twice, because 6 times 2 is 12, and that means that there's going to be 4 left over, and then 6 goes into 48 8 times perfectly, because 6 times 8 is 48. So that means that our answer for part C is equal to 12.8. And then finally for part D, we're asked to calculate the sum of the fractions. So we have 1/4 or 1/4 plus 1/3 or 1/3. And the rule when we have to add fractions is that we want the denominator or the bottom two numbers of the fractions to be the same. So we have to think of a number that can be both divisible by 4 and 3, and the lowest one that I can think of is 12. So that means that 3 goes into 12 perfectly, and so does 4. And now if we've changed the bottom of the fractions, we have to think how we're going to change the top. So what have we done to get 4 to 12? Well, we know that 4 times 3 is 12, so that means on the top we have to do 1 times 3 as well. So 1 times 3 is just equal to 3. And then for the other fraction, we have 3 times 4 gives us 12. So that means on the top it's going to be 1 times 4, which is just equal to 4. And now that both of the denominators or the bottom numbers are the same, then we can just simply add the two top numbers together. So 3 12s plus 4 12s is going to equal 7 12s. And that's the answer to part D. Okay, now let's have a look at question 2. We are told that 720 people were at the venue on Friday, so this must be some form of nightclub. And we are told that on Friday it was only 80% full, but on Saturday the venue was full. And we're asked to figure out how many people were there on Saturday. So we're given information on 2 days. We have Friday, which we know there was 720 people, so just going to say 720p. And we knew then that was 80% full. But on Saturday, we want to figure out how many people were there. But we know that it was 100% full. So in order to figure this out, well, since we know what 80% is, what I would do is figure out what 1% is. And we can do that by dividing 720 by 80. And once we have 1%, we can then multiply that by 100, and that will give us what the venue was full or at 100% capacity. So let's begin by dividing 720 by 80. So I'm just going to write it out as a fraction. So we have 720 divided by 80, and we can tell straight away that this can be simplified to make it a little easier. So we can cancel off the zeros, and that becomes 72 divided by 8. And thinking of our 8 times tables, we know that 8 times 9 is equal to 72, so that must mean that 72 divided by 8 is equal to 9. So that means this is 1% capacity, but we want at 100% capacity. So to get to 1% to 100%, all we can do is multiply the 1%, so 9 people by 100. So if we say 9 multiplied by 100, that's going to give us our answer for the amount of people that was there on Saturday night. So we had 900 people at a full capacity. So again, all we did to get that was we divided the 720, which was 80%, by 80 to get 1%, and once we had that, we multiplied it by 100 to get the 100%. Okay, so moving on to question 3, we are told that Jamie took the overnight sleeper train from Edinburgh to London, and he arrived in London at 6:24, so 6:24 AM that means. And the journey had taken 6 hours and 58 minutes, and we're asked to figure out when the train left Edinburgh. So basically the train departed at a certain time, it then took 6 hours and 58 minutes to get to London, and the arrival time was 6:24, so we want to figure out the departure time. And to do that, what we have to do is walk back the way from 6:24 and then almost subtract this 6 hours and 58 minutes to get there. But remember, we have to deal with knowing hours and minutes in this case, so we have to consider that when doing so. So to begin, I'm just going to take 6 hours away from 6:24, and that's going to be the 6 hours in this time. So that means after we've did this, we're only left with 58 minutes back the way to the spare. So if we take 6 hours away from 6:24, if we go back in time, that's going to make it at midnight. So it's going to be 00:24 or 24 minutes past 12. So to write it in 24-hour time, the same as what we had, that will be 00:24, taking away 6 hours from the arrival time. And then now what we have to do is subtract the remaining 58 minutes. But the way I'm going to do that, I'm not going to do it minute by minute. Because this is so close to being an hour, it's almost like 2 minutes off an hour. What I'm going to do is subtract an hour from this time, but then add back on 2 minutes, because 58 plus 2 gives us the whole amount of minutes within an hour. So if we subtract a full hour but then add 2 minutes back on, then that will give us our answer. So if we take away an hour from 24 minutes past 12, that's going to give us, in 24 hour time, 24 minutes past 11. But then if we add 2 minutes onto this time, this will give us the correct answer, which would be equal to 23:26, which is the same thing as 11:26 PM. So that would be the time that the train left Edinburgh to depart to go to London. Okay, now question 4. We are told that Colin works in a supermarket at the weekends and he's paid a basic rate of £7.50 per hour on Saturdays, but he's paid a time and a half on Sundays. And we are told that last weekend he worked a total of 7 hours on Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday, and we've been asked to calculate his total pay for the weekend. So to begin looking at this and how we calculate the total pay, what we have to do first of all is calculate his pay on the Saturday and the pay on the Sunday, because we are told that they're paid differently. On the Saturday he's paid a basic rate, but on Sunday he's paid time and a half. So what that means is that would be 1.5 times the basic rate on Sunday. So on Saturdays he is paid £7.50 per hour, and we are told on Saturdays he worked for 7 hours. So to get the wage, it's going to be £7.50 multiplied by 7. So let's just do that as a sum. 750 times 7. 5 times 7 is 35, carry the 3. 7 times 7 is 49, add on the 3, gives us an answer of 52. So that means for the Saturday he was paid £52.50. And now for the Sunday, what we have to do is figure out first of all how much he's paid per hour. So we know that's going to be £7.50, and because it's a time and a half, what that means, it's going to be times that by 1.5. And there's multiple ways you can do this, but what I'm going to do is just change the 1.5 into a known fraction, which would be 3 divided by 2, because 3 divided by 2 equals 1.5, and that means what we can do then is just simply multiply the 7.5 by 3 and then divide that answer by 2. So what we have, £7.50 multiplied by 3, 0 times 3 is 0, 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1, put the decimal point down, and then 7 times 3 is 21, carry that over, we have £22.50. And now what we have to do is to divide this by the 2, because what we just calculated there was the 750 times the 3, so now what we have to do is divide that by 2. So we have 2 goes into 2 once, into the other 2 once, put the decimal point, and then what we have, 2 goes into 50, and we know that 50 divided by 2 is just simply 25. So that means that the hourly pay on a Sunday is equal to £11.25. So now we know that, all we have to do now is multiply that by the amount of hours he's worked. So that's just going to be £11.25 multiplied by 6. So we have 11.25 multiplied by 6. So 5 times 6 is 30, put the 0 down, carry the 3. 2 times 6 is 12, add on the 3 is 15, decimal point, carry the 1. 1 times 6 is 6, carry the 1 is 7, and 1 times 6 again is 6. So that means that the total pay for the Sunday is equal to £67.50. And then finally what we have to do now is add the Sunday pay to the Saturday pay to get the total pay for the weekend. So we have £52.50 plus £67.50, and then doing this we have a 0. 5 plus 5 is 10, so put the 0 down, carry the 1. Then we have 2 plus 7 is 9, carry the 1 gives us a 10, so you put the 0 down, carry the 1. Then we have 5 plus 6 is 11, add on that 1 gives us 12. So that means that our final answer for this question is equal to £120. This is the amount of money that he made over the weekend. So I hope this has been good practice once again on getting used to the sort of questions that we could come across in a National 4 non-calculator exam paper. So if this video has been helpful to you, make sure and give the video a thumbs up. But if you have any questions on the questions that we covered today, then be sure to give a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel or head over to our website at penguin-learning.com. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.